You are listening to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where illumination and inspiration is but a click away. With so many genre topics for you on everything that you need to know in life. We celebrate and share the people who have taken the journey before you and who are now here to serve you with their wisdom and their knowledge. The next show coming up is... Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sara's View of Life, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. Entitlement. It's a big one, isn't it? Entitlement versus gratitude. Well, if we believe that we are owed something, we believe we're entitled to it. If we believe that we're owed something at any expense, doesn't matter who pays the price, then that entitlement is detrimental. We are entitled to a happy, productive life if we're willing to work for it. We can have all the abundance in the world if we're willing to work for it. We can be enriched and prosperous if we are willing to pay our dues along the way. But we are not entitled to have what we want, when we want it, because we want it, especially if it comes at the expense of people and planet. Opulence and entitlement are incredibly dangerous in the hands of those with no heart, no soul connection, no consciousness. For as long as they have, I don't care who suffers for it, everyone else will suffer for it. We've seen so much evidence through history, and now thanks to CNN and Twitter and all those media sensationalism, we're seeing even more opulent behavior than ever before. Over the last 30 odd years, the media advertising has made zombies out of us and sold us a bag of rubbish that more is more. And if you don't have more, you're worth nothing. This push to consumerism is not only killing our planet, but has killed our morality, our empathy, respect, consideration, and heart. For we have been taught that if you need things, you need the status to define your value, your self-worth. And this has caused a deep disconnect within our hearts, our souls, our spirits, and it's polluted our minds. Entitlement needs to be made obsolete. Gratitude needs to be instilled in our lives. Over the last few decades, with my counseling and podcast interviewing, I have come across so many people who feel heart, spirit, and purpose and consciously poor. They rode this wave of more is more, and at the end of it found out they were not only financially poor, but spiritually and heart poor too. Most people had to deal with some sort of illness and debt and a disconnect from loved ones as the communication had been lost due to this divide. All of them felt sick and empty and devoid of any joy in their lives, more like they had become slaves to the need to be and to have more. The journey is back to heart, back to spirit, and stepping into a more meaningful, purposeful life has given them an abundance that no exterior purchasing did. They became enriched by the becoming of service to others with an ignition of gratitude in deeply meaningful ways. Ego entitlement. Our egos, when entitled out of proportion, can make people feel superior and more entitled than others. A false illusionment, and one that can cause an incredible amount of harm to the egotistic and those in their path. Ego can become narcissism, which equals entitlement, which is derived by a deep sense of insecurity and an entitled person. If we are constantly seeking that approval, seeking that we're entitled above all else, yes, it can be a deep-rooted sense of arrogance, but it also is a deep sense of insecurity, the child within never having felt enough, never felt that they were enough for their family, parents, the schools, their expectations. And this can lead to that entitlement. This entitlement is not only consumerism or a sense of superiority, but of race and religion too. We see people who are so-called faith dictating who is worth God's love and who is unworthy. This is not a job for mankind, but only the Spirit of God. We see men demean and abuse women because they think they are a superior race. Again, not God's message. We see people condemned by the color of their skin and treated less than. Again, not God's message. We see the poor made poorer to keep them in place as servants to the rich, not God's work. We see opulent people using other people for their own gain and believe that they are entitled because they are richer, because of their status and superiority, and believe that is power. Again, not God or anyone else's message. The need for power, greed, superiority over others is a dis-ease that can have damaging consequences to all. You have to deserve what you have and be grateful for the blessing. Our purpose here on earth is self-discovery of our gift that we share in service with our communities. Only the willingness to go through life and face our challenges and become stronger, more courageous, and empowered by the experience can we become that beautiful instrument that serves the orchestra of life. So let's look at entitlement in our own lives and question if that attitude warrants being there. For being humble and grateful for this planet and what it provides, because it provides all we need, by being a participant in all areas of our life, by sharing, giving, creating opportunities, do we then truly understand why we're here? When you step into love and gratitude and understand that the struggles of self-exploration of a meaningful purpose here, then you will know that everything you are and everything you deserve because you journeyed for it, and you're grateful for the experience. Arrogance is one that is of entitlement as well. Ignorance has no entitlement at all, except for the fact that it becomes an excuse. I didn't know, so therefore. And arrogance says, I know more than you, so therefore I am more superior than you. Yes, there are people that know more than we do. See, the thing is, we're here to know what it is we need to know. What is our instrument? What are we contributing? When we understand that that is our gift to share, our gift to give. And then we share it with our communities, local or global, it doesn't matter. The triangle in an orchestra is just as important as the soloist. Every single person in that orchestra has a place, whether they play the full pieces, all the pieces, or just some of them, it doesn't matter. They all have a place. They're there for a reason, and it's important. It's important that they're there. Because without them, we would just have a few instruments that wouldn't be truly connected. But having a full orchestra with everyone there ready to play their part, and when the music builds into that wonderful crescendo where everyone is playing, it's touched our hearts, it's lifted our spirits, it's fed our soul. And then we understand the empowerment of the orchestra. So let us look at entitlement. We know that there are quite a number of politicians and dictators in the world who think they are totally entitled. We also know when we look at these people closer that they are also people who are incredibly insecure in who they are. Little boys, little girls, trapped in an adult's body. And they're having tantrums. And for some reason, people around them fear them. Maybe because they kill people, in some cases the dictatorship they do. Maybe because they make laws that are killing people. But we have to remember something. We put them there. So if we put them there, we can also take them away. If we put them there, we have to question, why did we? How did we let this happen? And why are we still allowing them to still be there? So whether it's our politicians or dictators of the world, whether it is our boss, whether it is our spouse, our friends, anybody that comes across to you with an entitlement that makes them feel more superior and lording it over you and wish to make you a subject of theirs, decline. You are your own person, your own beautiful instrument. The orchestra and the choir that you want to belong to is one of synchronicity and harmony and respect. You do not need to be around that person who feels they're entitled. There are other places you can go, other jobs you can go, other spouses you can have, other friends you need. We also have to check ourselves sometimes. Are we feeling entitled because maybe we're white? Are we feeling entitled because some people are rich? I've got nothing against rich people. Get rich. Then take a whole load of your money and seed opportunities for other people. We need people with money to generate e-commerce, to have things flow so people have something to sell, so people have something to upgrade to, so people have something to put food on the table or a feast for the neighborhood. We need the money, but we don't need it at the expense of somebody else. We don't need it when it becomes a detriment to our health. We don't need it when we become a slave to it. And we can easily become a slave to that money because then you're so busy protecting it and the position that you're in that you become incredibly insecure. And of course, entitlement slips in there too. So while you're out there speaking from your heart and soul, doing the work that you do, or in self-discovery of yourself, be mindful of this. There may be a stage where suddenly people hear you. Suddenly people are wanting to be around you, and they can put you up on a pedestal. At that time, I want you to look at this. I can be up there so that my voice projects, but I must come back down to the people to keep me humble, to keep me grounded, for me to keep learning what is needed. Because up there, you start buying your own Kool-Aid. You start feeling your own importance. It's wonderful if people revere the work that you do. It is wonderful if you've touched the hearts and souls. Continue to do that. But you do that by occasionally getting up there, speaking to the masses, and then coming down and being a part of them. Not segregating yourself from them as if you are higher or more important than them. It just means that your job is more responsible at this moment because you have to be very accountable to what you're sharing, what you're teaching, and make sure that you can back it up by being a part of the people. So entitlement. We've all felt it at some point. Yes, we are entitled to make a good living, to have a wonderful, abundant life. But that entitlement is matched by how much are we willing to put in order to receive back. So we have to work for it. We have to strive for it sometimes. Sometimes have to struggle for it. We have to learn to zigzag and redirect, fall on our ass and pick ourselves back up. And when we get there, we understand the importance of that journey. We understand the importance of our message. We understand the responsibility of what we're here to do. That doesn't take the fun out of it. That just keeps us grounded. Stops us becoming entitled. Do you know someone who feels entitled? I hit on spouses, relationships, where a husband or a wife may feel entitled. The wife feels entitled to the husband's money, or the husband feels entitled to the woman's body. You're not entitled in a relationship. You're in a partnership. And each one of you are bringing your beautiful gift to that relationship. And you will be constantly seesawing back and forth in life to find a balance that is harmonic to your relationship. There is no entitlement there. There is no superiority. You are equal, even if one is earning more than the other. You are equal in the heart, the spirit, the love, the companionship that you bring to the table, despite what your wallet is. It's interesting, isn't it? I invite you to go and look even more in entitlement and arrogance and opulence and all of that, because I'm sure you know some people who are that way. And kind of call yourself into check now and again to make sure that you don't act that way. I know it's easy. Sometimes it's easy to fall into that. But always remember the boundaries. Always remember to keep the feet on the ground, the roots in the ground with a good strong trunk and the branches reaching up to the heavens. That's the way we keep solid. So, who knows what next week's subject will be? I came across the word entitlement quite a few times last week in conversations, and it felt like it had to be spoken. So here you've had my perspective. Until next time, have a wonderful week. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show and were inspired to come and visit us at selfdiscoverymedia.com and see what other shows we have for you. And please do visit our selfdiscoverycommunity.org and see how you can be a part of giving back. Thank you very much.